Shocking truth. Lying flat isn't freedom. In recent years, especially in Asia, there's been this viral idea of lying flat, basically giving up on ambition, refusing to hustle, and choosing to just survive instead of thrive. Sounds tempting, right? No more stress, no more chasing after impossible goals, just rest. But here's the paradox. People who lie flat don't actually feel free. They often feel stuck, powerless, and dissatisfied. Over 2,000 years ago, another Chinese philosopher, Zhuangzi, already saw this trap. His writings explored a deeper, richer kind of freedom he called Xiao Yao, often translated as free and easy wandering. And guess what? Zhuangzi's wisdom might be the ultimate antidote to burnout in our modern world. He gives us a three-step path, not to escape life, but to transform how we live it. So today we'll break down what true freedom really meant for Zhuangzi, why lying flat is only a shallow imitation, and the 3 steps you can use in your own life to experience real independence, joy, and power. Stay with me, because this might just change how you see freedom itself. Section 1. Why lying flat fails. Let's start with the modern phenomenon. In China, the phrase tang ping, or lying flat, became a social trend among young people frustrated by endless competition, skyrocketing costs of living, and crushing expectations. Instead of pushing for promotions, starting families, or chasing status, some chose to lie flat, quit demanding jobs, stop striving for more, and simply survive with the bare minimum. On the surface, it looks like freedom. But is it really? Psychologists have found that while reducing stress can help in the short term, long-term passivity leads to emptiness. Human beings are wired for growth, meaning, and connection. When you shut all of that down, you don't gain freedom. You lose your sense of purpose. It's like saying, I don't want to play the game, so I'll sit on the sidelines forever. Sure, you're not in the rat race anymore, but you're also not living fully. Zhuangzi, the Taoist philosopher who lived around the 4th century BCE, would have smiled knowingly at this modern trend. Because in his book, Zhuangzi, he described a similar trap. People who mistake withdrawal for freedom. He believed true liberation is not about rejecting life, but about engaging with it in a radically different way. Section 2. Zhuangzi's vision of Xiao Yao, true freedom. So what is Xiao Yao? The word itself literally means carefree wandering. But don't mistake it for laziness or escapism. For Zhuangzi, Xiao Yao was about transcending the limits of social rules, expectations, and ego-driven competition. Imagine a bird flying thousands of miles across the sky, or a fish swimming effortlessly in an endless ocean. That's the kind of freedom Zhuangzi envisioned. Moving without constraint, living authentically, unbound by what others think you should do. One of his most famous stories is the happy fish. Zhuangzi and his friend were walking by a river. Zhuangzi pointed and said, "Look at those fish swimming so freely. That is happiness." His friend asked, "But how can you, a man, know what makes fish happy?" Zhuangzi replied, "I know it just by standing here, looking at them." The point isn't whether he was right or wrong. The point is, freedom and joy are found not in external validation, but in direct experience of life itself. So when we talk about Xiao Yao, we're not talking about lying flat or escaping the world. We're talking about a profound state of inner freedom that allows you to engage with life without being trapped by it. Section 3. The 3-step formula for true freedom. Now here's the part you've been waiting for. Zhuangzi's 3-step method for achieving Xiao Yao. It's not a literal checklist, but from his writings, we can draw a clear pattern. Step 1. Detach from artificial labels. Society loves to put us into boxes: successful or failed, rich or poor, powerful or weak. Zhuangzi saw these labels as illusions. True freedom begins when you stop letting external definitions control your worth. Step 2. Embrace transformation. In one of his most famous passages, Zhuangzi dreamed he was a butterfly. When he woke up, he didn't know if he was Zhuangzi dreaming of being a butterfly or a butterfly dreaming of being Zhuangzi. The lesson? Identity is fluid. Change is natural. Freedom means flowing with transformation instead of clinging to fixed roles. Step 3. Align with the Tao. For Zhuangzi, real freedom wasn't about doing whatever you want. It was about living in harmony with the natural way, the Tao. When your life flows with the rhythms of nature instead of resisting them, you experience effortless joy. Together, these 3 steps form a radical path. Stop letting society define you. Embrace the constant change of life and align with the deeper currents of nature. Section 4. Why Xiao matters in the modern world. Now you might be thinking, okay, ancient philosophy sounds nice, but what does this have to do with my everyday life, with my career, my stress, my family obligations? Here's the surprising part. Zhuangzi's vision of freedom is exactly what most of us are missing today. Think about it. Modern life is dominated by endless comparisons. Social media tells us how successful we should be by age 30. Corporate ladders make us fight for promotions like it's a zero-sum game. Even leisure has turned competitive. Who traveled further? Who has the better vacation photos? Who meditates more mindfully? This constant pressure creates burnout. And some people respond by lying flat, withdrawing completely. But Zhuangzi offers a middle way. Instead of running harder or lying flat, he invites us to step outside the game entirely. Freedom doesn't mean quitting life. It means refusing to let the artificial scoreboard dictate your happiness. Section 5. Case Study. The Corporate Butterfly. Let's bring this into a real-world workplace example. Imagine a young professional. Let's call him Daniel. He works at a competitive marketing firm in New York. Everyone around him is obsessed with promotions, job titles, and beating the competition. At first, Daniel joins in. He works late hours, takes credit where he can, and tries to outshine his peers. But over time, he notices 2 things. The harder he fights, the more stressed and anxious he becomes. His colleagues don't actually like working with him. They see him as self-serving. Daniel reaches a breaking point. Instead of quitting outright, he decides to try something different. He remembers a Taoist idea he once read, be like the butterfly. So he experiments. Instead of fighting over credit, he focuses on doing his work well and supporting his team. Instead of obsessing about promotions, he focuses on learning skills that excite him. Instead of letting stress control him, he takes walks during lunch, observes nature, and tries to see the bigger picture. 6 months later, something unexpected happens. While others burn out or clash with management, Daniel is seen as stable, cooperative, and quietly brilliant. His boss trusts him more. And when a leadership role opens, guess who gets it? Daniel didn't lie flat. He didn't check out, but he also didn't play the exhausting comparison game. He found a way to engage without being trapped. And that's exactly Zhuangzi's Xiao in action. Section 6. The psychology behind Zhuangzi's wisdom. Now let's connect this with modern psychology, because Zhuangzi wasn't just a dreamy philosopher. His insights line up with what science shows today. 1. Detachment reduces anxiety. Cognitive behavioral therapy often teaches people to challenge their automatic thoughts and detach from harmful labels. That's basically step 1 of Zhuangzi's formula. Stop letting social definitions control you. 2. Embracing change builds resilience. Psychologists call it psychological flexibility, the ability to adapt your identity and strategies when circumstances shift. People with high flexibility report greater life satisfaction and lower depression. Sound a lot like Zhuangzi's butterfly dream, right? 3. Flow with nature increases well-being. Positive psychology has a concept called flow, when you're so immersed in an activity that time disappears. Zhuangzi's idea of aligning with the Tao is very similar. You stop resisting and start moving with life's rhythms. This state of flow is linked with peak creativity, productivity, and joy. So while Zhuangzi wrote 2,000 years ago, science is just catching up to confirm that his path works. Section 7. The 3 pitfalls to avoid. But wait, before you run off to try Zhuangzi's wisdom, let's be clear about what it is not. Because there are common pitfalls that can make people misunderstand his message. Pitfall number 1. Confusing freedom with laziness. Freedom isn't about doing nothing. Zhuangzi wasn't saying just lie in bed all day. It's about being active without being trapped by competition. Pitfall number 2, escaping instead of transforming. Some people think they're practicing detachment by quitting their jobs or ghosting responsibilities. But Zhuangzi's freedom isn't about running away. It's about changing how you engage. You still live, but with a new perspective. Pitfall number 3, making freedom another competition. Yes, even spiritual freedom can become a status game. People brag about being more zen or more minimalist than others. Zhuangzi would laugh at this. If freedom becomes another contest, you've already lost the point. Avoid these traps, and you're already halfway to experiencing real Xiaoyao. Section 8, practical micro steps for daily life. Let's get even more concrete. How can you practice Zhuangzi's freedom today? In small steps. Morning reset. Before opening your phone, ask, what labels am I wearing today that I can let go of? Maybe it's the overachiever, the people pleaser, or the victim. Set them down, even for an hour. Butterfly pause. When something stressful happens, a rude email, a failed project, ask yourself, am I clinging to a fixed identity? Then imagine transforming like the butterfly. See if you can respond in a new way. Flow breaks. Take at least 15 minutes a day to do something where you lose track of time. Playing an instrument, gardening, drawing, even walking. That's practicing alignment with the Tao. These micro practices don't require quitting your job or moving to the mountains. They're small shifts that bring Zhuangzi's wisdom into the modern world. Section 9, Zhuangzi's radical redefinition of success. Let's pause and ask a daring question. What if success itself is an illusion? For most of us, success is defined externally. The job title, the salary, the house, the followers. But Zhuangzi would likely chuckle and ask, who told you those are success? Remember his story of a useless tree? A carpenter once mocked a huge, gnarled tree because its wood was too twisted to make furniture. This tree is useless, he said. But the tree replied, because I am useless, I am free. No one cuts me down. I grow old, I provide shade, I live my life fully. Zhuangzi flips the script. What looks useless to society may actually be the key to survival, joy, and true usefulness. Applied to us, chasing useful titles and trophies may trap us, while embracing what seems useless, creativity, play, rest, or quirky passions, might give us freedom and longevity. Isn't that radical? Success isn't climbing the tallest ladder. It's stepping off the ladder entirely. Section 10. How this applies to careers. Now, let's be clear. I'm not suggesting you quit your job and become a wandering monk tomorrow. What Zhuangzi teaches us is more subtle. You can redefine success inside the system. Instead of obsessing over promotions, focus on projects that spark curiosity. Instead of fighting office politics, choose collaboration and creativity. Instead of chasing external validation, build internal resilience. Ironically, people who practice this often end up advancing faster. Why? Because they radiate calm, confidence, and authenticity, qualities that leaders deeply value. Think about the most respected leaders you know. Are they the loudest, most competitive people in the room? Or are they often the ones who seem unbothered, balanced, and quietly wise? That's Zhuangzi's freedom at work. Section 11. From lying flat to flying free. Let's connect back to where we started. The modern lying flat movement. Lying flat is understandable. It's a rebellion against burnout culture. But it's ultimately a dead end. You withdraw, but you don't transform. You opt out, but you don't rise above. Zhuangzi's Xiaoyao is different. It's not lying flat. It's flying free. Not escape, but transcendence. Not giving up, but changing how you play the game. He doesn't tell you to stop living. He shows you how to live so lightly that the game itself loses its power over you. And that's a message we desperately need today. Section 12. The three-step framework revisited. Before we close, let's recap Zhuangzi's 3 steps to true freedom. Detach from artificial labels. Stop letting society's definitions of success and failure control you. Transform like the butterfly. Allow your identity to evolve. Embrace change. and discover flexibility. Flow with nature, not against it. Align with rhythms larger than yourself, whether that's creativity, relationships, or the seasons of life. Simple? Yes. Easy? No. But powerful? Absolutely. Section 13, a modern challenge. Now, let me throw the challenge back to you. Tomorrow, when you wake up and face the noise of emails, deadlines, and comparisons, try to catch just one moment where you feel trapped by the game. Then ask yourself, what would Zhuangzi do? Maybe he'd laugh at the absurdity of it all. Maybe he'd remind you that you're more than your job title. Maybe he'd tell you to flap your wings, if only for a second, and remember you're free. And maybe, just maybe, that single moment of freedom could ripple through your entire day. If this perspective sparks something in you, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Zhuangzi's not competing and flying free works in modern careers? Or do you believe the corporate world is too cutthroat for ancient wisdom to survive? Drop your answers in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more deep dives into Eastern philosophy applied to modern life, from Laozi's not competing to Confucius' hidden leadership secrets, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Because sometimes the wisdom that can save us was written thousands of years ago.